Early muzzleloader season in Pennsylvania is a relatively new endeavor for us. The area we hunted, however, was not new. It is on public land about a 3-mile hike from our camp. It has become our go-to spot and has produced many nice bucks over the years. This time, we were hunting our favorite area in the early muzzleloader season. 2 out of 3 of us were successful and bagged deer. Another difference was how we got the deer back to camp. Back when we first started hunting in this area, we dragged the deer out. This was very time-consuming and not easy at all. In fact, it took most of the day for us to do this. My friend Randy got a nice buck one year, and we dragged it out. When we got back to camp, he said, "How did you do this yourself? I don't think I could have done this by myself." I told him I just took my time, and that since he was stronger than me, he could have done it too. I guess he did not believe me, because before the next hunting season, he bought a deer cart for us to use instead. This certainly made the drag much easier and a bit quicker. We have hauled many deer back to camp on Randy's cart, sometimes 2 at a time. Our procedure called on the guy who successfully shot a buck to hike back to camp, fetch the cart, and bring it back, while the rest of us hunted in the meantime. Then we all helped the successful hunter cart the deer back to camp. It still wasn't a piece of cake. Pulling the cart over logs and through muddy streams was a pain and really slowed us down. The time required was long, too, since the successful hunter had to go back to get the cart and bring it all the way back. So a couple seasons ago, we agreed on a new plan. We talked about quartering the deer and packing the deer back to camp in our backpacks. We were all set to do this 2 years ago. Then my nephew Michael got his first buck that year. He knew we had been talking about the new method of bringing deer back to camp, but he said he wanted the full experience. Randy looked at me with wide eyes because Michael might weigh 110 pounds soaking wet. The deer was about as big as him. Both Randy and I respected his ambitious decision, and he did a great job at the beginning. He gutted the deer himself and started dragging the deer out. As time went on, and we saw Michael struggling and falling down a few times, I looked at Randy and whispered, "Should I go back and get the cart?" Randy nodded aggressively in the affirmative, and I was on my way. So that year, we returned back to our old method. But this muzzleloader season was different, and we decided to try our new alternative method. Randy quartered his deer, laying out each quarter on the deer hide. Randy is a butcher by trade, so he made quick work of this procedure. When I happened back onto the scene, he had the deer quartered. All I had to do was help him load the bags and put them into our backpacks to haul the meat back to camp. It worked well. Our packs were definitely heavy, but the time and energy saved with this new method was tremendous. We literally shaved at least a couple hours off the previous haul-out trip. When we got back to camp, I asked Randy what he thought. He agreed that it was the best way we've found so far to get our deer out.
Don't do that. You're going to make me laugh all the way home.
We learned a few things this muzzleloader season, and the biggest discovery was confirmation that a new method of getting our deer back to camp was easier and faster. Quartering Randy's deer worked, and it worked extremely well. I believe it is our new preferred method and one we will use now. We as hunters must take the responsibility of utilizing and preparing the meat for consumption as a priority. Randy and I are both amazed at how the Native American Indians used every part of the game they shot. We want to emulate this in our hunts today. For me, there is nothing more tasty than a deer steak that has been carefully handled and prepared for supper. I can almost taste it now.